Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are embarking on a highly rigorous, almost forensic examination of a remarkably brief, hyper-repetitive piece of digital internet comedy. In our modern era of short-form content, it is entirely too easy to just scroll right past a masterpiece of narrative efficiency. But today, we're going to slow down time. We are going to isolate the variables, examine the textual framework, and decode the metadata of a viral plea that, on its absolute surface, seems like pure chaos, but underneath, actually reveals the fundamental architecture of modern internet humor. So prepare yourselves to look at 22 very frantic words through an entirely new, highly analytical lens.
ओ नानी मो पैसा तो दी जाती ओ नानी रोक जा मो पैसा दी जा ओ नानी ओ मो पैसा दे नोट. Okay. Whew. Let's all just take a collective breath here. That unbroken, punctuation-free wall of text is the exact unedited transcript of the audio we are analyzing today from the creator, NRK Rahul Raj. When you hear it, it is this breathless, frantic burst of pure adrenaline. It just washes over the listener with overwhelming urgency. It's a literal sensory assault. But now that we've experienced the raw, unfiltered energy of that original delivery, we're going to drastically slow down the pacing. We are going to freeze this moment in time and methodically deconstruct what exactly is happening in this text. Section 1. The Desperate Plea. A case study in narrative urgency.
Okay, let's dive into this right here. 22. That is the exact number of words in this entire transcript. Short-form comedy is a totally unique beast. It simply doesn't have the luxury of a slow, simmering setup or, deep character development. It relies entirely on absolute absurdity and a rapid-fire delivery that hooks you before you even have a chance to swipe away. Think about that number for a second. 22 words is barely a complete thought in a normal casual conversation. Honestly, you probably use 22 words just deciding what to have for breakfast. Yet within these 22 words, the creator has somehow managed to compress an entire theatrical arc, battling the constraints of the medium itself to convey an absolute lifetime of desperation. We're going to treat this extreme brevity with the rigorous literary significance it absolutely deserves. Because making an audience feel something, anything, in just 22 words, that's a masterclass in narrative compression.
We can actually methodically break down how this mini narrative is crafted in just a few fleeting seconds of audio. As you'll see, there are 3 distinct phases in this plea to the grandmother or nani for cash, which is paisa. Phase 1 is the passive lament. Oh nani, mo paisa to de jati. It's a sorrowful reflection on a missed opportunity. But then phase 2 shifts gears entirely into the command to halt. Oh nani, ruk ja, mo paisa de ja. The speaker is now desperately trying to stop time itself, begging her to wait and hand over the cash. Finally, we reach phase 3, the absolute climax. Onani, omo paisa de, note. The specific demand. It's literally a beautifully structured 3-act play, somehow squeezed into a fraction of a minute.
Moving right along to Section 2, the anatomy of escalation. A look at rising tension. We've identified the structure. Sure, but the real genius of this audio isn't just what is being said, it's the emotional trajectory of the speaker's voice. We're witnessing a psychological escalation happening at warp speed. So the crucial point is the contrast between the passive lament on side A and the direct demand on side B. With mo paisa today jati, essentially meaning you should have given me money, the subject is looking backwards, right? Passively wishing for cash that has already slipped through their fingers. But look at that narrative shift. It completely transforms into a direct demand. Oh mo paisa de note. The speaker totally abandons all passivity. They aren't just aggressively demanding money anymore. They are demanding a specific medium of exchange. They don't want coins. No way. They want a paper note. The specificity of that final demand is exactly what cements the escalation.
And this brilliantly illustrates the underlying architecture of that panic. Notice the word frequency in the transcript. We have 3 repetitions of nani, 3 repetitions of paisa, 3 repetitions of o. It is perfectly mathematically balanced. This rhythmic, equal recurrence of these specific words creates this frantic, inescapable comedic loop. It honestly acts like a metronome of desperation. This repetition isn't some random accident. It's the core structural engine driving the anxiety and the humor of the entire piece. It's pure panic formatted as a perfect mathematical equation. Which brings us to Section 3, decoding the digital ecosystem through metadata. Now that we have thoroughly exhausted the spoken text itself, we have to pull back and look at the underlying metadata. Because, in the digital age, a piece of audio never just exists in a vacuum. It is packaged, tagged, and served up on a silver platter to an algorithm. Just take a moment to really absorb this list of attached video metadata.
We've got the phonetic spelling hashtag comedy right next to the traditional hashtag comedy and hashtag funny. We have hashtag Gadaria. We have hashtag cartoon. And perhaps most bafflingly of all, we literally have hashtag cat. We have a frantic 3-act vocal plea for cash from a grandmother, and the creator has somehow chosen to categorize this audio alongside cats and cartoons. Seeing this bizarre synthesis of hashtags really highlights the deadpan humor of the algorithm game. It's a scattershot approach to digital relevance that is, all on its own, a form of abstract performance art. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that specific hashtag right in the middle, hashtag Nanituri Morninkomerlege, because it serves as a massive cultural anchor. For those unaware, it points directly to a very classic, very innocent children's song about a grandmother. By injecting this highly specific tag, the creator completely recontextualizes the raw, greedy audio we just analyzed. It takes a purely aggressive demand for a note and wraps it up in a cozy blanket of animated cultural nostalgia. It transforms the piece from just some random audio clip into a hyper-specific, culturally resonant piece of digital comedy. Let's move to and see how this builds into the ultimate viral synthesis. The creator's formula is laid out right here in 3 very simple steps. Step 1, you record the hyper-urgent repetitive audio plea. Step 2, you confuse the context by attaching completely absurd, visually disjointed tags like hashtag cat. And step 3, you anchor the whole chaotic mess with deep cultural nostalgia. The wild disconnect between the highly stressful transcript and the completely incongruous metadata creates the ultimate internet comedy ecosystem. It's funny not just because of what is actually spoken, but because of how utterly bizarrely it has been packaged for the digital world. Which leaves us staring at this final, very provocative question. Why does the frantic plea for a grandmother's note resonate so perfectly in our modern digital comedy landscape? Is it the mathematical precision of the repetition? Is it the sheer, unadulterated absurdity of the metadata? Or is it because, in just 22 words, it perfectly captures the universal, timeless human panic of watching an opportunity slip away, all wrapped in the chaotic packaging of the internet age? It's a brilliant contradiction. The next time you hear a frantic 3-second audio clip while you're scrolling, remember the architecture we uncovered today. There might just be a total masterpiece of narrative escalation hiding right there in plain sight. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep questioning what you scroll past.